got some reclaimed black yarn here, so I'm going to use this to make the waistband, the bottom edge of the tank top. So I'm going to start to do a ribbing stitch to form the bottom edge of the tank top. Starting off with 11 chains. And then working back into those with a single crochet. Because I missed the first chain, and that counted as a turning chain, I'm now left with 10 stitches along my row here, the foundation row. So I'm going to do another turning chain, turn, and work into the back loop only. And this will form the first rib. Apologies for the black yarn, I know that's not so easy to see, but this I decided would be a good colour for the bottom edge and the armhole trim. This has a tendency to curl initially, but eventually it will flatten out. So just remembering to go into that last stitch there. So again we should have 10 turning chain, turn, and again into the back loop to form the next rib. I'll continue like this, going back and forth until I've achieved the length that would suit the waist of the tank top. This is the finished bottom edge of the tank top in a rib stitch. So once this is to the desired length, to fit around the waist. Then just join the two ends with a single crochet stitch or a whip stitch, and then once that's been done, work a single crochet around the circumference of the waistband all the way along the edge here. I'm now going for a grey and a red and an orange for the stripes of the tank top. So I've got the bottom edge of the tank top here in the black, and I've just been working on putting granny stitches into this bottom edge now. So I'm working granny stitches into the third stitch, so skipping this one and going into the next one. So 3 double crochets into that same stitch to form a cluster. And then skip, skip, and into the third one again for the next cluster. Skip 2 stitches and into the third stitch for the cluster of 3 double crochets. So I'll carry on round I'm going to do 2 rows of each colour, so grey, red, orange, grey, red, orange, and so on. Okay, I'm just finishing the second row of grey clusters. And just join on to the first cluster here with a slip stitch, and slip stitch across, and then start off with the new colour, so pulling up a loop and joining that with a slip stitch, just tie the old and the new yarn together. And then 2 chains to form the first double crochet of the new cluster, and then another couple of double crochets, hiding the tails as best we can. So that's the first cluster in the new colour, and then carrying on so that's the new colour added. Obviously just weave in these tails at the back here, and then carry on doing all of the stripes in the round all the way up. You can see I've joined on a panel of granny stripe, so I've changed from working in the round to working a flat panel for the front section of the tank top, and that is slightly in from the edge here, so that's just a normal granny stripe. And I've also started to form the neck opening here. And then forming a final cluster here, right along the edge of the neck shaping. And then forming a tapered edge to form that shaping. So a half double crochet into the top of that cluster, going through all the loops, and then a single crochet and then a slip stitch to finish, and then just secure that off. So you can see here, that's a tapered edge forming the opening of the neck hole, and the same along this side. A few ends to weave in, but ultimately you get a nice edge here to form your final border to the neckline. So I'll work on and work up each side of this so that they will be the parts that go over the shoulders on here and on this side. At the front of the tank top is more of a scooped neck that's been shaped, and then behind a more flat edge behind the neck, and I've just joined the front panel and the back panel with a seam here. That's just a single crochet. and the join is just a little bit over where the shoulder is, slightly behind the shoulder. I'm just starting to form the edge of the neckline with a black trim. So just as at the bottom of the tank top, it's a ribbed stitch. I'm going to connect the rib stitch onto an initial row of slip stitches that are run through the surface of the crochet. That ensures a sharper, neater edge to the collar. So I'm going through at regular intervals through to the back of the edge, pull up a loop and pull through a slip stitch, and that runs along the surface of the crochet. So I'll do that again. So going through the edge, pulling up a loop, pull through to form a slip stitch. I'll carry on, just forming these slip stitches at regular intervals at an even interval. You can see behind, that's the back of the slip stitch coming through. So these stitches run along the surface of the crochet and are secured through the back of the crochet itself. So again, go front to back. Pull up the yarn and pull through a slip stitch. I'm just going to go into the slip stitches, the surface ones, with a normal single crochet now into the back loop. So into the back loop only. You can see here that forms a nice neat edge. Here's the finished tank top. The ribbing to the edge of the armholes and the neckline is finished, and you can see here that the surface slip stitches create a slightly neater edge than if you were to just crochet normally into the edge of the coloured section.